Well, holy smokers, folks, this ain't no dang jokers. Tesla earnings are out. I want to go ahead and take a look at these numbers and share with you guys the good, the bad, and the great. And we're going to get into the stock price in this video as well. People are seeing the stock price not moving after hours. I want to explain what exactly is going on with the stock price and why it's doing certain things. So yeah, let's get into this, guys. That's all I got for you for an intro. Hope you enjoy this. Don't forget to smash that like button. Let's get into this, guys. Okay, so right off the bat here, automotive revenues up a whopping 58% year over year. That's an extraordinary number. Even quarter over quarter, look at that. Nearly a 20% rise quarter over quarter. But, year over year is what really matters, 58%. Here's even a better number. Regulatory credits down significantly year over year. This is something that the short sellers always like to point at and say, hey, Tesla's using all these regulatory credits to help them out. Look at how much that's down. It's down 30% year over year. So a huge shrink there in regulatory credits. And I don't think Tesla should be penalized for essentially using those regulatory credits at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, it's a much, much smaller number. Automotive gross profit. A lot of folks will get excited about this one. 74% automotive gross profit there. Look at the rise year over year, $3.6 billion versus $2.1 billion at the same quarter last year. Automotive gross margin up 281 basis points from basically 27.7% this time last year to 30.5% now. That is a number a lot of people look at and they're like, what's the gross margin for Tesla? And this was always something that was kind of, a lot of short sellers would talk about. And now there's not a whole lot of bad stuff to talk about. And look at this from Q4, 24.1%, and just consistently rising and rising and rising for the past several quarters there. Total revenues up 57%. This is why I'm in this company, because it's a revenue beast and long-term a profit beast. 57% year over year. I'll take that all day. Total gross profit, 77% rise there. Significant number. Total GAAP gross margin. So this is generally accepted accounting principles, which is something a lot of people like to look at, because it's the truest way of doing your accounting, essentially. 26.6% versus 23.5% at this time last year. Operating expenses are still significantly rising for Tesla as they're building out the company, right? And don't look for those numbers to come down anytime soon. The day operating expenses start to shrink, I might start to worry about Tesla, okay? That was up 32% year over year there. Adjusted EBITDA up 77%. Net income attributable to common shareholders on a GAAP basis, 389% rise there. That's an unbelievable number. Now, on a non-GAAP basis, 139% rise there. A lot of folks are wondering, are Bitcoin gains in the GAAP numbers? Because it's kind of weird. You have to, basically, if you have an asset like that goes up or down a bunch in a quarter, now you have to count it under the GAAP, which I don't think they should do that, but that's the way accounting industry wants it nowadays. I think it isn't the way it should be done, but if that's the way it's done, like Tesla has to do it that way. They can't make up their own rules unless you want to do non-GAAP, because non-GAAP you can start to kind of run your own numbers and things like that. So I think that's almost a truer number in regards to that. Okay. Now, as far as capital expenditures, up 81%. Obviously, this company's spending a fortune right now. They're building out multiple gigafactories right now. There's another number. Like, whenever Tesla's capital expenditures go down, I might start to worry about this company. I want to see them building more gigafactories. I want to see them having more service centers, more supercharger network. This is, in my opinion, a good number. Spend the dang money and build out this beast over the next 10 plus years, the same way Amazon did. Free cash flow down 5%. They had a very strange quarter back in Q3 of 2020, where basically free cash flow was abnormally high. And if you look at this, from basically 2021, 293, 619 up to 1.3 billion. It's been consistently rising throughout this year. It's just last year they had a abnormally high free cash flow. Okay, cash and cash equivalents up 11% year over year. Strong number there. S and X production down 47%. Do not think that number is going to keep going down. That's all I'll say about that. That number is about to go up in a substantial way over the coming quarters. People like myself just took delivery of their Model S Plaids in this quarter we're in now, the Q4 quarter. I have somebody in the private stock group who literally took delivery of their Model S Plaid the same exact day I did. Model X are coming off the line, the new Model X production. So look for S and X to be up significantly over the next several quarters. And a lot of folks look at those as the best gross margin vehicles Tesla produces, so don't be surprised if profitability and gross margin also improve over the coming quarters as S and X basically get ramped up, okay? Very important to remember what I just told you there. 3 and Y production up 79% year over year. That's a phenomenal number there. That's Tesla big dog vehicles. At the end of the day, that's what's going to drive the business. And also, I think Cybertruck's going to drive this business, no pun intended, over the next several years. Total production up 64%. If we look at S and X deliveries, down 39%. Once again, look for that to flip in a massive way over the coming quarters and shoot to the moon. 3 and Y deliveries up 87%. So essentially, the delivery numbers is up even a more substantial rate than the actual production. Okay, very important. Total deliveries up 73% year over year. I mean, who else is putting up these sorts of numbers? Absolutely off the charts. Total end of quarter operating lease vehicle count up 76%. Something I definitely love seeing. I love seeing more and more folks leasing Teslas. That's a great number to see. Global vehicle inventory, days of supply, extremely important number, right? Down 57%. You want to see this number be very, very low. Global vehicle inventory, you want to see it be a low number, because if it's a super high number, that means Tesla's just producing cars to produce cars, right? If this was at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, oh, that's a little worrisome. You want to see it as a low number, because that means Tesla is basically producing as many as they can get off the line and getting it out there immediately, essentially. So this line item, very important one, and something you definitely love seeing there. Solar deployed up 46% year over year. Now, keep in mind, that's such an insignificant number for Tesla. When it comes to solar deployed, don't get too excited about that number, because it's such a small number. It could build into a much bigger number long term, but right now it's like almost minuscule. Storage deployed, as far as this, 1.295. That's a huge ramp up there versus 759 there, 71% rise there. So storage deployed, solar deployed. Keep in mind, those are smaller businesses, but at the end of the day, growth is growth. They're just dwarfed. The numbers are dwarfed, essentially, by the automotive revenues. So it is something to kind of keep in mind. Now, store and service locations up 35% year over year. That's something I love to see, as well as a mobile fleet service up 43%. At the end of the day, all these people getting all these Teslas, they're going to have issues with them, right, from time to time. There's going to be something that goes wrong. Maybe some sort of rat comes in and chews their wiring. Maybe something like that happens because they parked their Model S Plaid in the driveway instead of the garage one night and just happens to eat through the wiring. So anyways, yeah, needless to say, you've got to see these numbers continue to increase. That's something if you care about the company long term and you care about the customers, you've got to see these numbers continue to increase and increase as more and more vehicles get out there. Supercharger stations and supercharger connectors, those are numbers you want to see continue to go up as well. With all these people driving all these Teslas all over the place, the busiest locations end up starting to get filled up, so you need either more connectors or need just more supercharger stations in general. I still imagine a future, let me be very clear about this, I still imagine a future where you're going to be able to go to McDonald's, a Starbucks, places like that, grocery store, and it's going to be commonplace to have electric chargers there, and specifically even Tesla ones, where you can just plug in your car right there and that parking lot and charge your car. And you won't even need to go to one of these quote unquote just like random stations that Tesla has around, sometimes on the outskirts of cities and things like that. Okay, so yeah, good numbers. You want to see those continue to go up. Yes, it hurts profitability doing all those sorts of things, and yes, you got to have all the capital expenditures to build out those numbers, but at the end of the day, you want Tesla customers happy. You want Tesla customers to say good things about you, especially because Tesla's playing the long game. Okay, now this might be my favorite chart of all charts when it comes to Tesla. And this is what my eyes are going to be on over the coming years in a massive, massive way. This shows you market share of Tesla vehicles by region. not electric vehicles, vehicles in general. And what you're seeing is Tesla just rising and rising and rising. And I believe we're going to get to a day when Tesla is at 20%, 30%, and maybe even someday in the U.S., near 50% market share. I've been saying that since I started on my bullish, my bullish ways around Tesla. And I still believe that by the year 2028, Tesla will be accounting for somewhere around 50% of all new cars sold in the United States of America. I truly believe that. And we'll see what happens over this next, 7-8 years. And it's going to be fun to kind of watch what happens there. I think they're also going to continue to grow massive market share in regions like Europe and China. I don't think the market share will be as high in some of those markets, but could I see a day when they have 10% or 20% of all vehicle sales in China? Absolutely. Could I see a day when they got 20%, 30% of all vehicle sales in Europe? Maybe by the end of this decade? Absolutely. At the end of the day, by the end of this decade, let's just put it that way, by 2030, I think they could hit around a 50% number in the U.S. I truly stand by that. In China, in Europe, I think anywhere between 10% and 30% by the end of this decade. Not talking 50 years from now. I'm talking by the end of this decade we're in right now, okay? So, yeah, this is what my eyes are glued to for the next many, many years. I can't wait to see the number continue to grow and grow. This is always an important slide that Tesla puts out here, volume. We plan to grow our manufacturing capacity as quickly as possible. Over a multi-year horizon, we expect to achieve 50% average annual growth in vehicle deliveries. That's an enormous number. The rate of growth will depend upon equipment capacity, operational efficiency, and the capacity and stability of our supply chain. Obviously, it's important. Cash, we have sufficient liquidity to fund our production roadmap, long-term capacity expansion plans, and other expenses. Profit, we expect our operating margin will continue to grow over time. Continuing to reach industry-leading levels with capacity expansion, localization plans underway. Product, we continue to target our first Model Y production builds in Berlin and Austin by the end of the year, so which means in the next few months, guys. The pace of the production ramps will be influenced by the successful introduction of many new product manufacturing technologies in new locations, ongoing supply chain related challenges, and regional permitting. We are making progress in the industrialization of Cybertruck, which is currently planned for Austin production, and a subsequent Model Y. Subsequent to Model Y. So basically, everything is going exactly as planned. They're talking about operating margin should grow over time. They're talking about Model Y builds in Berlin and Austin coming by the end of this year, which is huge. And they're talking about Cybertrucks, going to be up and running very shortly. We should see some Cybertrucks on the road in 2022. It's just a question of how many Cybertrucks will we see out there in 2022. I think that's the biggest question then. So great news. They're totally backing this. Elon Musk and the whole team, they're totally backing this 50% average annual growth in vehicle deliveries on a multi-year horizon. So that's great to see them sticking by that. Check this out, Gigafactory Berlin. They're having the fair there, man. Look at that. That just looks like a grand old time. If I lived in Berlin, I would take the kids there gladly. That's amazing. I mean, just a cool event there. And this baby should be up and rolling big time very, very shortly. That's huge for the European market over the coming years. There's no dang doubt about that. Also for the R&D team, long term, a lot of talent, a lot of car manufacturing talent in Germany. A lot of best practices, right? Tesla's figured out some ways that are smarter than the industry, right? But there's still going to be definitely some good things for Tesla to learn from some experienced engineers and folks that are in that region as well. So don't ever discount how important that is for the long-term trajectory of this company. Now, this is one of my last favorite slides to look at in Tesla, and then we're going to talk about this stock price, okay? So if you look at vehicle deliveries, I love to just see those numbers. And by the way, it would have been more of a straight up line if it wasn't for Rona kind of messing up everything. And it would have been more of a But anyways, it is what it is. It kind of set Tesla behind the ball a little bit. But hey, it set everybody behind the ball. Tesla's just done a lot better job than any auto manufacturing company out there at managing those issues, right? Operating cash flow, I mean, look at the difference over time. I mean, it's just extraordinary. Look at free cash flow, the difference over time. It's extraordinary. And then lastly, my favorite thing to look at, net income over time and adjusted EBITDA over time. Everything is going exactly as planned here with Tesla, if not a little better. Now, with that being said, some people get frustrated. They look at the stock price and they're like, what in the heck? Are you kidding me? The stock is doing nothing after hours. I've seen it up as much as about 1% and down as much as about 1%. It's doing nothing. People are frustrated. Like, what? What the heck, man? These numbers are amazing. Well, something very important you got to remember is this stock went on a crazy run, man. I mean, it went on an epic run. And when you go on these epic runs, I mean, the beats have to be so insane for you to get that stock price to continue to roar higher. And I think this is what a lot of people don't account for. And even going into these earnings, the stock ran a lot. Okay, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Tesla was $730, probably a month ago. It's $865 today. So when you have these sorts of massive runs, the beats you have to have for those earnings have to be so ridiculous. And if they're not that ridiculous, Wall Street, they're kind of like, we don't have to buy Tesla today. So at the end of the day, I'm super happy with these earnings. And, you know, whatever happens to stock price short term is whatever happens to stock price short term. I love these earnings. I love the execution of Tesla. I'm a very happy shareholder. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and me running through the numbers. All I ask in return is that you smash that like button. That's it, guys. Much love. Have a great day. Peace.